You are Fireballicus, a wizard living in the kingdom of Larian. You have a staff and a spellbook. You finish your long journey and finally arrive at the ruin you've been looking for. You look around and see that it's an old temple with a large stone door on one side. The other side has some sort of trapdoor leading to another room. Fireball the door. You cast a firebolt into the door and watch as it catches on fire. It takes several seconds before the flames die down enough for you to pull out your staff. Walk through the door. You step through the door and find yourself in a small chamber. There is a table with 4 chairs facing each other. On top of this table sits a figure dressed in robes and holding 2 staffs. He looks up when he sees you approach, but doesn't move from his seat. Fireball the stranger. You cast a fireball at the man and watch as it hits him full force. His body explodes into ash and smoke. As you turn back to face the others, they are already moving towards their seats. One of them approaches you while the rest begin chanting something in a language you don't understand. Fireball the others. You cast a fireball at the group who are now running away from you. They all catch on fire and explode into ashes. You turn back to face the others who are still chanting. Fireball the others. You cast a fireball at the others who are now fleeing from you. They all catch on fire and explode into ashes. You turn back to face the others who are still chanting. Fireball everyone! You unleash a torrent of fire upon the group who are now running away from you. They catch on fire and explode into ashes. Look around. As you continue to burn, you notice that there is no longer any sign of life anywhere near you. The flames have consumed everything, save for your charred remains. Go deeper into the temple. You decide to keep going deeper into the ruins, but you're not sure if you should be exploring or just staying put until nightfall. If you stay here, then it will only get worse. Keep going deeper. You enter the temple further and find that it has been completely destroyed by the time you reach its deepest depths. What a waste of fucking time. You continue deeper and find that it's even more damaged than before. Its walls are cracked and crumbling, making it harder to see anything in front of you. Use fireball to light up the temple. You light up the entire temple with a fireball. The resulting explosion causes the ceiling to collapse down on some of the people inside, killing them instantly. Sorry! You walk over to the bodies and kneel down next to them. You then throw a fireball at their heads, which they both catch on fire. You laugh as you watch them die. Go back out of the temple. You leave the temple and head back outside. There is nothing left except ash and smoke. You can't believe what you've done. I can't believe what I've done. You walk back inside and close the door behind you. You sit down on a rock and try to collect yourself. What the hell did you do? How could you let this happen? Why didn't anyone else see this coming? I open my robe and take 6 Percocet. You grab your robe and pull it off, revealing a black leather one. You slip on the robe and begin taking 6 pills each from an empty vial. Well, here I go, killing again. You start walking towards the cave entrance. Suddenly you feel a strong urge to kill something. You look around and see a small group of people standing nearby watching you. They don't seem too surprised by your actions, though, so maybe they aren't all that shocked either. Fireball the onlookers. You cast a fireball at the crowd of people. The flames quickly engulf them all, and soon there isn't any sign of life left in sight. Leave the cave and go back to the nearest village. You return to the closest village and tell everyone what happened. Some of them think you're crazy. but most just shrug it off as being a common occurrence for wizards. Most of those who were in contact with you never saw or heard about such things happening again after your death. Ask for the village leader. You head back to the village and speak with the village chief. He tells you he doesn't know anything about it, but if you want to find out more information, you should talk to his son who lives in another part of the country. You agree and set off on your journey. But I don't really. I come back and challenge the village chief to an election. You decide to come back and challenge the village chief to an election. You figure he'd probably be more likely to listen to reason than his son would. I begin campaigning across the village, garnering support to be voted in as village chief. You make your way into the village and begin speaking to the villagers. They seem very happy to hear that someone is running for their village chief position. It seems like they want to help you win, since they are willing to vote for you in the elections. That's wonderful! Vote for me! And I promise everyone Lunchables and ginger ale every Tuesday. You continue to campaign until you get the majority of votes. When you enter the voting booth, you realize that it's not going to be enough. You realize that your efforts weren't appreciated by the other candidates, and they won easily. Fireball the other candidates. You cast a fireball at the other candidates. The fire spreads and burns down half of their bodies before burning up completely. None of them survive this ordeal. Look at voters and wait for them to vote for me instead. You walk over to the voters and ask them why they didn't vote for you. They explain that they had been sick of hearing about your past deeds. After some arguing, you managed to convince them that you were a nice guy who was trying to do good things for the world. I count the votes and see that I might have enough. You walk back to the village and look at the results. You notice that you actually got more votes than anyone else did. This means that you will become village chief. Congratulations! Enslave the men. You immediately start enslaving the men in the village. They are all forced to work for you under threat of violence if they don't comply. You also force them to eat all the food they can, and then throw away any leftovers. Take the women for myself. You take the women from the village and force them to serve you as well. You tell them that if they ever try to escape, you'll kill them. They're afraid of what you might do to them, so they obey without question. Send an emissary to nearby villages and tell them to submit to my rule. You send an emissary to nearby villages and tell them to submit to your rule. They are reluctant at first, but eventually they agree. Over the course of 10 years, I build an army to take over the world. Over the course of 10 years, you slowly build an army of undead and demons to conquer the world. Your armies grow stronger with each passing year, and soon you have a large horde ready to march on your enemies. Apply to join the United Nations. You apply to join the United Nations, and are accepted into their ranks. You learn that you have gained a lot of power, but it's not enough. Fireball United Nations leaders. You decide that you need to get rid of the United Nations leaders as quickly as possible. You burn down most of their homes and buildings, killing everyone inside. Only a few survivors escape out of the windows or run off into the wilderness where they never return. Proclaim myself God King of the UN. You declare yourself God King of the United Nations and begin conquering other countries one by one. The only problem is, you aren't ruling alone anymore. Fireball my family. You decide that you want to be free of your family, so you fire a blast of magic energy at them. It doesn't harm them, but it does damage their home and cause it to collapse onto them. Good enough. You say, good enough, and leave the area. You feel like you've accomplished something great today. I hand the throne over to my magical pet otter and head out on a journey. You give the throne to your otter pet and head out on a journey. Eventually you reach the outskirts of another country and find that it has been conquered by another powerful warlord. He offers you peace in exchange for your help in taking over his nation. I agree and take over his nation with force and fireballs. You agree to help him take over his nation with force and firebolts. After a short battle, you kill the warlord and claim victory. Fireball the earth. You fire a fireball at the ground, causing a massive explosion, which destroys all life in the immediate area. No one knows what happened next, but after several years pass, you discover that the land was covered in ice and snow again. Well, that didn't work. You say, well, that didn't work, and go back to your travels. I ask God for guidance. A year passes. A year later, the world is now ruled by a new warlord who calls himself the God Emperor. He has become very powerful, but he also seems to be obsessed with you. Keep waiting for God's guidance. You keep waiting for God's guidance, but no sign of any. A few months pass, and you're ready to give up hope when you see a small village near your current location. There are some survivors there, but they seem to be in danger from an even greater threat. What would God do? You say, what would God do? And head towards the village. As soon as you enter, you notice that its inhabitants are completely naked. They look terrified and scared, but not afraid enough to run away. I get naked too to put them at ease. You get naked too to put them at ease, but they don't flee so much as they just stare at you. You think about how strange this situation is, and then decide to try and make them more comfortable. Naked, I give them all a hug and tell them Papa is here to help. You, naked, you give them all a hug and tell them Papa is here to help. This works wonders, and they begin to relax. It takes a while, though, but eventually they start talking to you again. So tell me your story. You say, so tell me your story, but they refuse to talk to you any more. They just continue staring at you. Eventually you leave the village and return home, where you find that your parents are both dead. Ah, shit, I forgot I did this before I left 30 years ago. You say, oh, crap, I forgot I did this before I left 30 years ago, and go back to your travels. I wander the world looking for a sign from the gods. You wander the world looking for a sign from the gods. Eventually you come across a small town called Dirt, which has been overrun by zombies. The only ones left alive are a couple of teenagers who have barricaded themselves inside their house. Continue searching for God. You continue searching for God, but it doesn't work out so well. Zombies overrun the town, and the two teens barricade themselves in their house. You manage to kill one zombie, but another manages to break through and attack you. Leave. You leave the town and travel further into the wilderness. Eventually you come across a large forest, where you see a group of people fighting off several zombies with bows and arrows. Go back to Fantasy Timeline with Portal. You decide to stay in the Fantasy Timeline and head back to your portal. Unfortunately, you die when you open it up. You died. Game over. Wait. No, I'm alive. You wait. No, you're alive. You wake up in your bed and realize that you can move around a little bit. You check on your dad's body to see if he was killed or not, but unfortunately he isn't. He looks pretty beat up, though. Oh man, it was just a dream. You say, oh man, it was just a dream. Your dad then tells you that he saw the same thing you did and died too. You were right about everything being fake after all. I see, so God isn't real. It's only what we make of it. "That's really deep, Father." You say, "I see, so God isn't real, it's only what we make of it? That's really deep, Father," and hug him goodbye. Fireball Dad. You fireball your dad. His face turns red and his eyes turn black as he falls backwards off the bed. As you stand over him, you hear a loud noise and feel a burning pain shoot through your chest. "Ah, man, I really need to do more cardio." You say, "Ah, man, I really need to do more cardio." You run outside and throw a rock at the sky, causing it to rain down fire upon you. You get badly burned and fall unconscious. Fireball the sky back. You fireball the sky back. It burns like hell, but you survive. Fuck you, God. You say, "Fuck you, God." You continue to curse at the heavens for making you suffer so much, and how you wish there was something else out there to torment you. After all, this world is just a shell of itself now. Man, God is so dumb. I bet he won't even say shit to me right now, 'cause he's scared off. You say, "Man, God is so dumb. I bet he won't even say shite to me right now, 'cause he's scared off." You look up at the stars and think about how they never change. They don't care about anything except themselves and their own pleasure. Walk to the nearest town. You walk to the nearest town, the sun sets, and you take a break from cursing the heavens. A few people pass by, but none of them seem interested in talking with you. You decide to go home. Turn myself into the local constable. You turn yourself into the local constable. You immediately start arresting everyone who looks suspicious. Eventually you catch the attention of a police officer. He approaches you and asks if you know where your son is. "Yes, officer, I killed him in cold blood and gave my throne over to my pet otter." You say, "Yes, officer, I killed him in cold blood and gave my throne over to my pet otter." You tell the cop that you want to be taken back to your house. "No, you have to listen to me. I am a danger to myself and others." You say, "No, you have to listen to me. I am a danger to myself and others." You refuse the cop's offer and instead try to escape. He catches you, however, and throws you into jail. "Someone, please, I'm a monster." You say, "Someone, please, I'm a monster." You scream at the top of your lungs as loud as you can. The guards grab you and force you into a cell. The next day the cops arrive looking for your son. "I already told you he's dead. The otter rules my kingdom now." You say, "I already told you he's dead. The otter rules my kingdom now." You begin screaming at the top of your lungs again. This time the guards do not bother with it. They throw you in jail once more. Scream for God to help me. You scream for God to help you. The guards finally realize what you're doing and stop you. You are thrown into jail once more. I tell God, if he doesn't help me, I'm going to burn this fucking jail to the ground. You tell God, if he doesn't help you, you're going to burn this freaking jail to the ground. The guards finally realize what they're doing and throw you in jail once more. I cry over being in 4 times jail. You cry over being in 4 times jail. The guards finally realize what they're doing and throw you in jail once more. Ah! You ah! The guards finally realize what they're doing and throw you in jail once more. I wait for the guards to put me in 6 times jail. You wait for the guards to put you in 6 times jail. The guards finally realize what they're doing and throw you in 6 times jail. I waited for this moment. I trained for this moment. The door opens to my cell, and I hurl a fireball at the guards. A fireball is hurled from your hand, hitting one of the guards directly on his face. "Tase my lightning, fucker!" You say, "Taste the flames, you dumb bastard," and toss another fireball at him. He catches it, but not before getting hit by the first one. I fireball the cell apart and make my escape. You fireball the cell apart and make your escape. The guards finally realise what they're doing and throw you in jail once more. Serve my time in jail. You serve your time in jail. The guards finally realise what they're doing and throw you in jail once more. Please let me go, I'll do anything. You say, please let me go, I'll do anything for your love, and tear up your letter to God. Your sentence is reduced to 1 year, which means you get out after just 3 months. I'm free. You say, I'm free, and run away. You don't know where you went or how you got there, but you feel like you've escaped something. I run into the woods far away from humanity, a danger to all life. You run into the woods far away from humanity, a danger to all life. A few years pass, and you find yourself back home again. You don't remember much about that time except that you were happy. Then one day the sun sets and darkness falls over everything. Oh no, it's night time. You say, oh no, it's night time, and hide under a rock. It's night time now. You look around and see nothing but darkness. Suddenly you hear a voice calling to you from somewhere deep within the earth. I cry out in fear, noticing the voice is Jake from State Farm. You cry out in fear, noticing the voice is Jake from State Farm. Ah! You say, ah! And run towards the voice. It seems to be coming closer and closer until it suddenly appears right behind you. It's Jake. He smiles as he sees you hiding under the rocks, and then he runs off with his tail between his legs. What? You say. What? And follow him into the forest. Soon you come across a large tree trunk. Jake climbs up onto the top of it, while you stand on the ground below. Fireball Jake and see how good his insurance really is. You fireball Jake and see how good his insurance really is. After a long time, Jake comes down from the tree and looks at you. His face shows anger and frustration. He points to the sky and says, I'm sorry for what I did to you. Oh my God, you're God. You say, oh my God, you're God, and start laughing manically. The laughter doesn't stop until you fall unconscious. The next morning you wake up in a hospital bed. Your mother is there holding your hand. She tells you she has been trying to call you since last night, but her phone was dead. What's a phone? And aren't you dead? You say, what's a phone? And aren't you dead? And start crying uncontrollably. Your mother tries to console you, but she can do nothing for you. Leave the hospital and get a job at the grocery store. You leave the hospital and get a job at the grocery store. You work hard every day, but still don't make enough money to pay for your own apartment. Eventually, you give up and go back home, where you die of an overdose of pills. You died. Game over.